Welcome back to another edition of the GuerrerosAzteca podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Liga MX and everything going on around the Fútbol Mexicano. Man, I owed you guys this podcast. You guys had been hitting me up on the YouTube comments asking when the next podcast will be. I even had some people hitting me up on Twitter, asking for the podcast. So thank you guys. I apologize and I thank you for your patience. But before we get to today's topics, let me let you guys know that there's a download link for this podcast in the description down below. So if you're interested in downloading it and you don't want to listen to it on YouTube, then you can go ahead. It's in the description. You can download it, put it on your iPhone, on your Android device, iPod, whatever. Listen to it while you work out, while you go for a run. It doesn't matter. It's down there if you're interested. So let's get to today's topics, man. And the main topic, the absolutely main topic for today's podcast is the official list for the Mexican national team for Brazil 2014. Miguel Herrera, the Mexican national team manager, announced it this last Friday. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to analyze it. Do we fully agree with the list? Or is there a player in there that shouldn't have been there? Is there a player missing in this list? We'll talk about it shortly. The other topic, and I'll talk about it briefly, is the final of the Liga MX between Pachuca and León. Two brother teams owned by father and son. Pachuca owned by Jesus Martinez Sr. and León owned by Jesus Martinez Jr. So those are the two topics, but we're mainly going to focus on the final list, the official list for the World Cup. Here we go, man. Here we go. So I don't feel comfortable, but I don't feel comfortable talking about this list without even reading it out to you guys. I know 99.9% of you guys already know who are the 23 players chosen by Miguel Herrera for the Mexican national team, who's going to the World Cup, but I just don't feel comfortable. So let me read it to you guys quickly. Let's start with the three goalkeepers: José de Jesus Corona, Guillermo Ochoa, Alfredo Talavera. No surprises there. Or is there a surprise? I don't know. We'll talk about it. The defenders: Paul Aguilar, Andrés Guardado, Miguel Ayun, Rafa Márquez, Héctor Moreno, Diego Reyes, El Maza Rodríguez, and Carlos Salcido. Carlos Salcido. So the midfielders: Isaac El Conejito Brizuela, Marco Fabián, Héctor Herrera, El Negrito Medina, Luis El Chapo Montes, Carlos El Gulit Peña, José Juan El Gallito Vázquez. Those are the midfielders. Here we go with the strikers: Gio Dos Santos, El Chicharito Hernández, Raúl Jiménez, Oribe Peralta, and Alan Pulido. So 23 players. Let's get to the analysis. Let me let you guys know my opinion. So let's start with the goalkeepers. Three goalkeepers. And before I get into this, let me let you guys know, most of you already know this, but I'm an America fan. And I am 100% with these three goalkeepers. Leaving out Moisés Muñoz was the right thing to do. As an America fan, Moisés Muñoz is an America, he's the America goalkeeper. I agree with taking Chuy Corona, Guillermo Ochoa, and Alfredo Talavera. Those are the three best, absolutely best goalkeepers that Mexico has. And I feel like in a World Cup list, you have to take your best talents. You could argue that Carlos Vela isn't here, but we all know that story. We all know that novela, if you will, right? So, novela. Pun intended. All right, we'll go with it. Anyways, here we go. So, Moy Muñoz is a great goalkeeper, but I think these three guys, Chuy Corona, Ochoa, and Talavera, they're just a step ahead of him. They're just a step above him. I think my 1 and 2 goalkeepers, the two best goalkeepers that Mexico has, in my opinion, are Corona and Ochoa. But Talavera is a close third right there, right behind them. Who's number 1 for Mexico? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Sometimes I think it's Ochoa. Sometimes I think it's Corona. They're just that close, in my opinion. Corona, has his features, and he has his pros and cons, and so does Ochoa. Some argue that Ochoa isn't great, on through balls or whatever, and on crosses. Ochoa isn't great on crosses, and something Corona isn't this and that. Yeah, you can make arguments for both of them, but I think they're 1 and 2. That's my opinion. Then Talavera, though. Talavera is a close third. This season was spectacular for Talavera with Toluca. I'm sorry. Talavera played a great season. He had a great season. Sadly, his team yesterday was eliminated from the Liga MX, the Liguilla, right? But, it was a great León team. Gulit Peña's goal yesterday in the game Toluca versus León was amazing. Gulit Peña, absolutely, that was a world-class goal right there. But anyways, So I agree with these three goalkeepers, with his decision, with Miguel Herrera's decision on taking these three goalkeepers. Who should start? We'll get to that shortly. Let's get to the defenders. And I think this pick surprised a lot of people. This player being added to the list surprised a lot of people. It definitely surprised me, Carlos Salcido. And it surprised most of us because Miguel Herrera hadn't been calling Carlos Salcido for any friendlies. He didn't call him for the playoff versus New Zealand. And all of a sudden, Carlos Salcido appears in his list, in his official final list for the World Cup. So it was like, man, all of a sudden, Carlos Salcido. But, it was a surprise, but it wasn't, I'm for this surprise. I'm not opposed to Carlos Salcido being added to the list because I think his experience, he might be on the downwards curve, but because of his age and stuff. But I think his experience and the chemistry he's going to add to this group is something important. His experience, he has 3 World Cups, Carlos Salcido, or 2 World Cups. Carlos Salcido is, he's an experienced player. He has class. There is better players. He definitely, I wouldn't put him in my starting 11, but I think he adds something to the group that not a lot of these players. He's up there with Rafael Marquez. He's up there with, who else? I mean, there's not many. If you look at the list, there's not many experienced players. Even Andres Guardado qualifies as an experienced player because he has 2 previous World Cups, the 2006 and 2010 World Cup. So there's not a lot of players with World Cup experience in this list. So I think Carlos Salcido definitely has something to add, and I'm not opposed to him being in the final list. There's one player in here that I kind of am opposed to him being in here. And a lot of people are as well, and that is Francisco Javier El Maza Rodriguez. Maza Rodriguez, again, I'm an America fan, but this player doesn't have the form. He's not at his greatest form, and he doesn't have the level to be in this list. And not only his level, but his recent, behavioral issues, man. He got a red card in the World Cup, in the quarterfinals matchup, America versus Santos, because the crowd was getting into it with him. He had made a couple mistakes during the game that cost America goals. The crowd wasn't happy with him, so every time he touched the ball, the crowd started booing him. That obviously got under his skin. Once America ties the game and turns things around, they take the lead. Maza Rodriguez, makes signals to the crowd. I think what he really did, he took his hand, put it in his groin area, and he got a red card for that. Rightfully so, he got a red card. He got sent off. So this isn't the first time that's happened to him. If you guys remember, in the World Cup qualifying process, when he was the captain in the Chepo de la Torre era, when he was a captain for the Mexican national team, he did the famous Maza señal to a person in the crowd. So this player, sometimes people get under his skin and he makes stupid decisions, and not only his behavioral issues, but again, he's not in a great moment. He's not in a great form. He's not in great form. So he definitely shouldn't be starting for this team, for this Mexican national team in the World Cup. But I don't even know if he should have qualified to the final list, man. But if you look around, who else do you take in Maza's place? I mean, let me know in the comments down below. Who else, if you don't want Maza Rodriguez in this list, who else would you have taken? I don't know. I look around and I see Nacho Gonzalez, the center back for León. Maybe Nacho Gonzalez, Johnny Magallon, or who else? Maybe Hector Miguel. No, not Hector Miguel Herrera, not him. Miguel Herrera, the center back for Pachuca, that's in the final right now. The young center back for Pachuca, because I think that he has class, man. That kid has class. Miguel Herrera, not the Mexican national team manager, but the center back once again. Miguel Herrera, he has class and he's very young. I think he'll be part of the 2018 World Cup process. I think he'll be part of that because, Rafa Marquez, it would be crazy to think that he could make it to another World Cup. He could stay at the same level for 4 more years. So I think we're going to start seeing new, young guns, and the young guys now step up. Like Diego Reyes, he's going to be the, I guess, new Rafa Marquez, if you will. Maybe Hector Moreno could be a part of the next World Cup. But I think in the place of Maza Rodriguez, I think I would have taken this young player, Miguel Herrera, and just, even if he doesn't play much, maybe you can use him in an emergency, but even if he doesn't play, you he already gets to experience, even if it's on the bench, experience a World Cup. You know, he's already maybe if you have to use him for the next World Cup in 2018, he's not so, I don't know, he's already kind of experienced it before. He's been there before. He's felt it before. So, but you know, other than that, who else do you take in the place of Massa Topo Valenzuela? You know, definitely not. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think someone else should have taken its place. Maybe you're one of those people that argues that Javier Aquino, you know, should have been in this list. And you know, I think about it, and I think about it, you know, and I don't know if I'm opposed or if I'm with Miguel Herrera in leaving Javier Aquino out. You know, it's definitely, you can't question Javier Aquino's class, his quality, because you know it's been proven. You know, he's a part of a great team in Spain, like Villarreal, but he just doesn't fit into Miguel Herrera's 5-3-2 formation. That formation he used with Club America, and the formation he's now going to use with the Mexican national team. If you look at it, Javier Aquino, his attributes, they just don't fit in the formation. So I don't know if I'm with or against him. I don't know if Javier Aquino should have been in this list, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I think I would have left Javier Aquino out as well, but I mean, I might be wrong on that. So let me know if you would have taken Javier Aquino. Let me know your opinion on that. But I like the midfielders: Gallito Vázquez, Peña, Montes, El Negrito Medina, Héctor Herrera, Marco Fabián, and Brizuela. And some people argue that Negrito Medina shouldn't have made the cut or this or that. But I think, you know, the only real CDMs that this list has are Juan Carlos Medina and Jose Juan Vázquez. Those are the only really center defensive mids that this list has. You could also throw in Carlos Salcido in there. He's played the position before. But, you know, the two true real CDMs are only Negrito Medina and Gallito Vázquez. So Javier Aquino, you know, leaving out Negrito Medina for Javier Aquino, I don't see that really. So the strikers, man, I'm with it, man. I dig the strikers: Giovanni Dos Santos, Chicharito Hernández, Raúl Jiménez, Oribe Peralta, and Alan Pulido. I don't see who else you could have brought. Maybe some people might make the argument that Aldo Enigris could have made the list, but I don't really, you know, Aldo Enigris is not in a great moment. Just like, you know, Chivas is living a horrible moment right now, and that's kind of dragged down Aldo Enigris, you know, down to that level. So I don't see him making this list. I'm happy with the strikers. I'm happy with the midfielders. Like I said, on defense, I don't like Massa Rodriguez in there because I don't feel he, you know, his behavioral issues and the form he's in right now, I don't feel that was enough to qualify. But again, I don't really blame Miguel Herrera, because who else do you take in his place? So I don't know. So here we go, man. I'm going to give you guys my starting lineup. And you guys, if you feel like it, it'll be kind of hard because it's the YouTube comment section. But let me know your opinions, your starting 11. If the World Cup started tomorrow, who would be your starting 11 for this Mexican national team? I'm gonna let you guys know my starting 11. So assuming we always have to assume the 5-3-2 formation. So let me know your starting 11 in the 5-3-2 formation. Here's mine. Goalkeeper. It's a tough choice, man, but right now I'm going with Corona. I can't give you solid reasons why I'm going with Corona. I promise you, I can't give you those solid reasons why, and I'll admit to that. But I'm going with Corona right now. I don't. You can't go wrong with Ochoa or Corona or Talavera. I even feel like, because Talavera is he's in a great moment right now. They're just. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. I can't give you solid reasons, but I'm going with Corona. Left wing back, Miguel Layún. Miguel Layún, who else? Andrés Guardado maybe, but Andrés Guardado, I think you know, Miguel Layún is right now at that position. I think Miguel Layún is. It has a slight advantage, so I'm giving it to Miguel Layún. The three center backs, I'm choosing Moreno, Marquez, and Diego Reyes. Again, I'm not going to put Massa Rodriguez in there. I'm throwing in Diego Reyes, definitely. He's been playing a lot more, and he's been starting for Porto. So Diego Reyes been getting minutes. He's in a good form. So definitely my starting three: Moreno, Marquez, and Reyes. Right wing back would be Aguilar. This one was oh man, I forgot to even touch on the subject that he left out Ponce. I think that was another one that people were making an argument, and that I think I would have added Ponce as well to this list. I don't know if in place of Massa Rodriguez, because they're completely different positions, but Ponce could have, he could have made the list. He was in a good moment with Toluca and he just didn't make it. So as a right wing back though, I have Paul Aguilar. I don't see who else would use that. They argue that if Paul Aguilar has an injury, then they're gonna switch Layun to the right wing back position, and then that spot vacant in the left wing back that Layun left would be taken by Andres Guardado. So that there's also Layun could play the right wing back position because he's actually right-footed, but he could use his left foot very, very well. So he would be a 5-star weak foot in FIFA, but FIFA, the video game, only puts 4 stars in him, I think. So anyways, man, so here we go again. Corona, goalkeeper, left from left to right, Layun, Moreno, Marquez, Reyes, and Aguilar. Here we go with the center defensive mid, Jose Juan El Gallito Vázquez. That one was tough to choose. It was between him and Negrito Medina. Now on Twitter, I posted that I would have as a CDM, I would have Hector Herrera, but thinking about it closely, I think you would give a lot of space there in the midfield, because Hector Herrera, sure, he plays CDM for Porto, but he plays the formation that Porto uses 2 CDM. So Hector Herrera has help in the midfield, so he can't do it by himself. So I have Vázquez or Negrito Medina, and right now, because of the players that are on my starting 11, I chose Vázquez, and this is why. So as another midfielder, I would have Montes and Peña. Peña left side of the pitch, Montes on the right side. So these 3 guys, they've played together for so long at León. I just had to go with Vázquez over Negrito Medina because I have Peña and Montes on the midfield as well. 3 León players in the midfield. You can't go wrong with that. So that's who I'm choosing. Up front, I would have Gio and Giovanni Dos Santos and Oribe Peralta. Gio Dos Santos has been coming back from injuries, but I think that he's just a different player. I think he's a different player, and no one else could really offer what Gio Dos Santos has. Gio Dos Santos isn't only a what do you call it, a traditional number 9 like Chicharito Hernandez is. Gio Dos Santos can also play kind of the center attacking mid position. He could drop back and play behind Oribe Peralta, so I just feel like Gio Dos Santos is the ideal player to pair with Oribe Peralta. So that's my starting 11. Corona, Layun, Moreno, Marquez, Reyes, Aguilar, Vázquez, Peña, Montes, Gio, and Peralta. That's my starting 11. Let me know in the comments down below what's your starting 11. And if you agree with mine, if you don't, it's completely fine. I mean, we could all speculate, but at the end of the day, we'll see who Miguel Herrera chooses. A lot of things could change from now to hopefully not by injuries, but a lot of things could change. From now to the debut, Mexico's debut at the World Cup. So we'll see what starting 11 Mexico presents in the World Cup. But anyways, I think we've touched on this list enough. Let's move on to the next topic, and I'm gonna touch on it briefly because I'm gonna be completely 100% honest with you. I didn't even watch the semifinals game. I didn't watch the Santos versus Pachuca. I didn't watch that one. I already saw the highlights. I already saw the mess that Caixinha, the Santos manager, got into. But I didn't watch the game. I've seen the highlights. I watched parts of the León versus Toluca, but I didn't watch it all, so I don't feel qualified to completely speak on this final. But from what I saw Gullit Peña's goal. I saw that goal, and that was class, man. Gullit Peña, that was class. I'm happy that he's back at to scoring ways, because Gullit Peña had been below his level, below his form recently, and a lot of people attributed that to fatigue, maybe physical, maybe mental, stress. But I'm glad that hopefully this helps his confidence. Hopefully he has a great final, and hopefully he arrives to the Mexican national team with great form, because we're gonna need him. Mexico's gonna need him in the World Cup. So Gullit Peña, I'm glad he scored that goal. But anyways, man, I don't feel completely qualified, but I'm still gonna give you guys my favorite, because I've watched these 2 teams the entire season. I've watched many games of these 2 teams, and I wasn't surprised that Pachuca got past Santos, because Santos had it was crazy, because these 2 teams, Santos and Pachuca, had both of them had great attacks, but not both of them had great defenses. They didn't, and Santos has a horrible defense. every time you attack Santos, you cause harm, man. Every time you knock on the door, they're likely to open it for you, and that was shown versus America. But America made a crucial mistake in the quarterfinals, the leg number 2, when they went into the second leg and they defended their lead, their 2-goal advantage. You can't do that with Santos. Santos has a great attack. If you attack Santos, you're likely to pick up a couple goals, man. So that's what Pachuca did. They picked up a couple goals. It got kind of dramatic towards the end, but Pachuca was able to hold on to their 1-goal advantage and qualify to the final of the Liga MX. So on the other side, the other semifinal, Toluca versus León, the same Toluca team that was the grand candidate to win the league after Cruz Azul's elimination, they got eliminated as well by Club León. So Club León eliminated number 1 Cruz Azul, eliminating number 2 Toluca, and here they are at the grand final of the Liga MX. A team that even if they came in as number 8, you can't sleep on Club León, man. And that's my grand candidate, honestly. That's my favorite to win the league. I have Club León winning it over Pachuca, but I mean, it's tough, man, because Club León, you know, they were rolling in the Copa Libertadores, and then they face elimination versus Bolívar. So you thought that the team just, you know, the morale wasn't gonna be there. You saw Gulit Peña fatigued. You saw their players fatigued for playing these 2 tournaments, and then all of a sudden they start making a run. They eliminate Cruz Azul. It was like, wow. And then now they eliminate Toluca. So here they are. All of a sudden they're at the grand final. You know, at some point there was speculation that Gustavo Matosas was gonna leave Club León, and all of a sudden you see them somehow in the final, and that's just León. León has class, quality players. There's a reason why they're adding, you know, 4 players to the World Cup. You know, Peña, Montes, Vasquez, and Marquez. You know, there's a reason that they have 4 players in the World Cup, and they just have a class, a great team, and they're my favorite to win the Liga MX. So who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win the Liga MX? Do you have Pachuca winning? Ener Valencia is a beast on the attack. Do you have him terrorizing the Club León defense and just taking the trophy? Do you have Club León with Gulit Peña, you know, hopefully, you know, in better form? Hopefully, you know, he gets some rest and he can play better. You have Chapo Montes in a great moment as well. Who do you have winning this trophy? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's it. That's the end of the Liga MX, the Guerreros Azteca podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for not watching, but listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I look forward to recording more of these now that it's summer and I have a little bit more time on my hands. So if you'd like for that to happen, then like the podcast up to let me know. Anyways, that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, bros. And as always, que viva el fútbol.